I'm going to start, guys. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to start our third webinar in the Enterprise series. And with me today is David, who is the CEO of Smartmatter AI, and Martin Gruev, who is the creative team lead in Gameloft, and of course, Steve, who is our EMEA regional manager, and I'm going to be the moderator today. My name is Ami. I'm the product marketing manager at DAD. And what's the agenda for today? So we're going to do a short intro. Then I'm going to do a really quick recap on webinars 1 and 2, which we had previously. We're going to do a speaker, or 2 distinguished speakers intro. And then we're going to start with an open discussion, talking about their success stories and best practices. And I really hope we're going to have some time for the forum Q&A. So ask us anything. Steve, myself, customers here, an open discussion is always welcome. So as I mentioned, this is part 3 of our enterprise growth series of webinar. We had first webinar in May, which was more about the use cases for enterprises. Then we moved to part 2, which is more of a how-to regarding our newest product, which is DAD agents. And now on the third part, we really wanted to show some real customer examples, talk with the customers, hear what they gained by using our products, et cetera, and we'll have that second part right after the recap. So what we discussed on previous webinars. So first of all, we kind of outlined the market. So the Gen AI market, as everybody knows, is booming, and the projection that it will grow from around $1 billion to about 1.3 trillion, which is more than $1,000 billion. So the expansion is really mind-blowing, but that's kind of the general Gen AI market. When we talk about solutions like DAD provide, it's more related to the digital avatar market. And here we're talking about total addressable market, which is going to grow from about 27 billion nowadays to $500 billion, so 500 billion in 2032, which is essentially around the corner. This is 8 years from now, and the numbers of growth is staggering. CAGR of 44% is something that is unheard of. So it's really something to look forward, and really the potential and the opportunities are out there. So this is the market we're playing with, digital avatar market. And we also discussed some trends that we see in the industry from our experience, from our customers' experience. There are a few trends that can be discussed. I'm not going to go over all of them very deeply, but kind of highlight. So the first trend that we see is Gen AI solutions, which also have a grounding element into them. It's also called RAG. The grounding element is actually, you can see it as a database. And this is needed for 2 main purposes. One is to make sure that your data is your data, and that it actually knows to provide answers and use your own database and your own knowledge, and not something from the internet generally. And this also solves another issue, which is the hallucination issue. As you know, when you play with ChatGPT and other Gen AI tools, sometimes they invent things, provide kind of weird answers. They don't like to say, no, I don't understand, or I don't know. And the grounding or the RAG database kind of helps with that. To improve the integrity and the quality of the data provided to the end user. A second trend that we see is the move from conversations to actions. We see it all around in GPT-4o and other tools. we see the ability of Gen AI not just to have a conversation, where are the best spots in Italy, but also to provide actions. And this is something that we believe is going to grow and expand and will be a solution that actually can do things for the end user. The third element that we see is the move to AI-powered customer support. And I can also say it's not limited to customer support. We see it now in marketing and sales. We see it in different areas, and David and Martin here will explain about their areas of solutions which are powered by AI. The first trend that we see is the better personalizations and voice assistant. We see many more providers doing text-to-speech, speech-to-text. We see solutions that are capable of understanding who you are based on past conversations and kind of fine-tune their interaction with the end user based on better personalization. And along with that, we also see better solutions which are more multilingual and multimodal. So not only discussing with a person, but also able to understand visuals, the surrounding, a picture, anything which is not only text or speech. And last but not least is the fact that we see kind of a dawn of a new era. So so the change from the GUI interface, which is the graphical user interface, into something much more, I would say, human-like, where you can actually interact, speaking to the machine, and the machine replies to you, kind of like we're talking one-on-one with a person. We also discussed DID specifically. Steve, can you recap on who we are, what we do?
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Firstly, I know some people joined in the middle of Ami giving a quick recap. It's an honor to give the introduction about DID. And please let us know if you have any questions, any comments, please put in the chat on the Q&A. And in the Q&A, we're trying to do that part at the end as well, any questions that you might have. So a little bit about DID ourselves. Series B, we've raised $59 million. And we have offices across these 4 offices, but we're working globally with customers. You'll see a little bit more on the next slide. And if you saw that where we say we're 90 employees, when I joined just over 2 years ago to DID, I was like the 35th employee. So you can see this space, this industry is really, really growing in the digital avatar world. And you can see I'm responsible for EMEA, so you can see quite a lot of those logos here, but we have 3 very focused regions here, and we're working with tier 1 customers across the board in all regions, all areas, and that's what we're sort of facilitating. And this brings me to the 2 different types of solutions that people are using DID today, represented by our 2 guest speakers, I have to say, that we have for this webinar. We have the AI videos. This is the concept of creating videos offline, where you can take an avatar, a text, choose your voice, and that can create the video within a matter of minutes. And then we have what we call our online solution, where you can have conversational AI, where you can speak to an avatar in real time, and they're going to respond back using an LLM, for example, OpenAI, GPT, or on those sorts of things. AI videos in this webinar is being represented by Martin from Gameloft. They're creating offline videos that are used in their ads, and AI agents are being represented by David, where they're able to do conversational AI in his kiosk, and they'll both be able to explain more about what they're doing later on in this webinar. Okay, and then why are people using this? Obviously, the 2 different solutions, there's 2 different reasons for. What we're seeing across the board is there's going to be better engagement. What do I mean by that? Let's say if I turn off my video here, I'm still talking. it's going to be less engaging for people listening to this webinar. They're less focused on what I'm saying. It's less interesting. It's less relevant. If you have, and this was a study done by Accenture as well, if you have, and I'll turn my camera back on, you have video, it makes people more engaged. They're more likely to listen to you. They're going to be more attuned with what you're saying and be able to relate a lot more to what's going on. The reduced cost, this is when you're able to create videos in a matter of seconds instead of going to a studio to do it. It saves a lot of money, a lot of resources, scalability, managing to make lots of videos in a very short amount of time. And obviously, when it comes to real-time responses, to be able to have a person that you're speaking with really makes you feel engaged with the brand that's delivering that to you. You really feel like you're being addressed by someone as opposed to a text-based solution, and it reduces the time to market. And you're able to also do much more personalized and much more localized. You can do this in many different languages and really address the solutions that everyone needs. Being able to do it at scale really means that everyone who wants to have that sort of video solution can get it much more relevant to them, where they're situated and what their language would be best in. Okay, so just when we were talking about the engagement before, we know from studies that video is going to be more engaging than text. In fact, there's around 90% recall of video content you're consuming compared to only 10% when you're reading something. So the idea of having video is going to be a lot better for customers when they are interacting with that brand to get that information. We always think we produce white papers, we do lots of documentation, send that to people. The reality is that people unfortunately forget what they read. Much easier to send video content instead. And the next part is, with that video content, to have a face talking to you is going to be a lot more compelling than just having a non-face where you just have sort of video content on the background, and then having a presenter that people can relate to, who's speaking, who looks like them, who's speaking in their language, is going to also increase the engagement a lot more. And one of the trends we're seeing, and this is actually where the ID today main target market is. We can see Martin being part of the marketing team there at Gameloft. Marketing is really a sector where they're really using AI technology at scale. 94.1% of marketers have adopted AI in the past 3 years. This really shows the trend that marketing, particularly, whether we're talking about different solutions from DID or other areas of AI, are really taking this on board, being able to create videos at scale, but also have this interactive videos as well, where they can have this easier for them to be able to interact with websites, for example. Lots of marketing, when we come to, let's say, technology companies, find it very difficult to articulate what they do. If you have video there, an agent that you can speak to in real time, it makes it much easier for people to understand what this company does, what solutions they have available, rather than trying to go scroll different parts of those websites in order to find that information. So this avatar straight on the page, what do you do? Can you assist in what I'm looking for? You get those answers in real time. And we can see it improves sales productivity, increases customer satisfaction, and lowers the costs. And those are some things you'll hear from Martin and David as well. Okay, and some of the use cases that we see in this sort of space, many different use cases. We actually get new ones all the time. But these are some of the most typical ones when it comes to a sales, like I was talking about before, like a sales agent, someone able to explain, articulate in real time, or sales videos when people want to send videos to their customers to explain what they sort of do. A digital twin to be able to make another version of you in an AI form. E-commerce, assisting people with products so they can understand. For example, let's say you have complex, let's say laptops or things along that nature. People want to understand a lot more what's the difference between this model and that model. And you can ask those questions in real time or have offline videos explaining it. It's going to create a lot more engagement make people a lot more comfortable before making that sort of large purchase online. Marketing, we discussed. Customer support, being able to answer questions instead of having to wait 20 minutes and listen to that nice hold tunes that you sort of hear whilst you're waiting for your insurance company to pick up that phone. Instead, you can speak to an avatar in real time and get much better support that way. And we're seeing a lot more at the moment currently, hospitality sector, where people really, you have an avatar that can assist you, understand what's around that sort of area, let's say for hotels, kiosks where people can speak and ask their questions and not have to wait in queues at the front desk of a hotel, for example, waiting to speak to that concierge to get real-time information about anything.
Thank you, Steve. We also showed a real agent. This is our own, our very own Ben agent, which is embedded in our website. I hope that you can see it over here. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. So this is actually the DID agent embedded in the website. I'm gonna try and ask him something about DID. Let's see if he picks up on it. Hi, Ben. What can you tell me about DID?
API for developers to integrate AI-powered natural user interface into their applications. DID also emphasizes ethical use of its technology and has partnered with privacy experts and ethicists to establish ethical guidelines. DID has a community that users can join.
So were you able to hear him respond? Yeah? Okay, great. So this is, again, a great example of an agent that is an SME about DID in that case, and he can answer users about common questions regarding DID. Going back to the presentation, so I think it's trivia time. My question to the forum is, what do you think the most common use case for DID agents that we see currently? Is it an interactive product guide? Is it a website assistant? Is it a lead gen agent? Or is it an anti-churn agent? So I think I hope the chat is open and you can just write the number in the chat, whatever you think the right answer is. Feel free to write in the chat. Okay, a nice comment from Keith. I use your agent all the time. Thank you, Keith. Much appreciated. So we get answers like product, which is number 1. We get number 2. The actual answer is indeed number 2. Currently, website agent is the fastest growing agent that we can see based on our customers. And I think without further ado, we're gonna start the open discussion with Martin and David. So Martin and David, thank you very much for joining us today. Eager to hear what you guys have to say. I'd like to start with a short introduction. Martin, we're gonna start with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. So yeah, moving to here.
Yeah, so I'm Martin Gruev. Nice to meet you guys. I'm marketing creative team lead in Gameloft. Gameloft is a company for games with more than 20 years of experience in the mobile. Even that in the last few years, we explore different platforms like Steam, PC, and even PlayStation. So yeah, our top names in our portfolio is Asphalt 9, March of Empires, Disney Dream, Light Valley. So yeah, we have a lot of experience in the mobile gaming. And almost 2 years we use DAD, and that tool help us a lot, the DAD Studio. So I guess we will continue with the slides.
Sure, thanks. David, you're up.
Sure. I'm David Defelici with CEO of Smartmatter AI, and I'm just going to warn everybody. Zoom just told me I have an unstable internet connection, so if I go out, please just let me know. Wave to me or something.
So far, so good.
Great, perfect. So we're a little bit different. We are a startup that is focused on creating applications for AI assistance in public spaces, primarily for digital signage and kiosks. We have spent our career in the digital signage space, so we know what it takes to engage audiences in public venues. And our solution is sold through AV resellers primarily in the US, but we're attracting a real global audience for the product.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to hit you with some questions right now. Okay. So we're going to start with the question number one. The question is if you can share your experience working with DAD technology, and actually if you go even back, what were the challenges that you were facing or your customer was facing and you were trying to solve? So we'll start with Martin. Gameloft challenges.
Before using DAD, to find one of the big challenges that we have is to find the actual artists that they should record the video, but the process is super sloppy because you know the time duration, and if you have a comment, so you should wait for that comment to be fixed, and yeah, the process is sloppy. And another thing with the facial animation is when we use artwork character from our games, the animation that we should create for that facial animation, if you want to try something like that, it's spent a lot of time, and it's do it manually with the different software. So yeah, DAD gives a perfect solution for those problems.
Okay, and the same question to you, David. I think there is a slide for that, right?
Sure.
Let's check it.
Yep.
By DAD, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been partners with DID for about a year now. I think we just started just about a year ago, maybe a year and a month. And we were looking for a solution that we could use for all those good things that you said in your presentation. You know, we knew that people respond to faces, people respond to audio, people like to speak in their natural language. And for us, once we found you folks and your technology, we needed to do real-time rendering, right? People are going to walk up to a kiosk and they're going to ask a question in their natural language, and the kiosk needs to respond in near real time. And so the real-time rendering was really a key for us. The second thing that was really important for us in working with DID is DID's robust API. So in public spaces, we have to integrate a lot of the client's enterprise systems. So this might be the front end of a wayfinding system. It might be the front end of a ticketing or reservation system. So the fact that DID has a robust API allows us to build our own APIs and also integrate with the customer enterprise solutions. The fact that it's lifelike animation, we looked at a lot of different vendors for avatars, essentially, and a lot of them were really candidly quite creepy. They were 3D, they didn't look good, and so we really like the fact that the animations are quite lifelike. We use the video studio a lot to render common answers, right? We don't have to create a unique answer every time somebody asks a question if we already know the answer. So the video studio videos are indistinguishable from the real-time renders. And then finally, the big checklist item for almost all of our clients is a multilingual capability. As marketers in the world, we intentionally have always left out a part of our global audiences, right?
Yeah.
Because we just couldn't speak that many languages. And so the multilingual capability of DID was really, really important to us. It's a checklist item for every one of our clients.
Awesome. Great. And I think there's another, you have another tagline here that you wanted to mention.
In my pitches, I always wind up on this slide at the end. So
yeah, I like it.
yeah, I told you that our background has been in public display signage. My CTO, Dana Williams, I'm sure is on this call. And we've been delivering information solutions to public spaces forever. So you see screens, a menu system at a quick serve restaurant. You see screens when you go to the bank and they have screens behind the tellers, that kind of thing. So we've been able to deliver information to public spaces for generation now. But for the very first time, what we are learning is that we can now deliver intelligence to a space that it wasn't possible to do before. And what we mean by that is primarily economically responsible. Necessarily be able to afford to put a person in the space, right? But our solution, our avatars are great employees. They're there 24/7. They never get tired, and they can provide those solutions.
Actually moving from a one-way street kind of information to a two-way street, conversational method.
And look, I'll sum up later. I have another point on this, but we can move forward.
Steve, you want to take this question for Martin?
Sure, absolutely. All right, so Martin, this goes to you first. Can you provide examples of measurable results or improvements since using DID?
Yes, I have a few slides about this. So yeah, now since the using of DID, we have a lot of possibilities to make localization of our creatives that before it's very hard to produce, because you should find the right person with that language and the recording process. So the entire workflow, it's much time spent than the actual that we use DID. So you can play the first one. This is the localization with the character from the game that speak to
Você faz parte de uma ordem militar independente em mundo totalmente afundado na guerra. Reúne aliados fortes e inicia uma batalha global no jogo multiplayer grátis mais exclusivo para mobile.
And this is this is a big trigger for our audience, because they see exactly this character when they install the game, and the character speak to their language. So yeah, the solution for this is perfect.
So just to ask you, Martin, so before using DID, would you just do less languages? Would you do less videos?
Of course, yeah, of course. Before using DID, the localization of the videos, for example, when we using DID, the percentage of this increase more than 40% assets that are localized.
Amazing. And did you want to show the short promo video as well?
Yeah, short promo videos. This is again a perfect solution for those videos that trigger our audience to install the games and
new lands. Dominate the Middle Ages.
I'm going to install it after the webinar, Martin.
And yeah, you see, there's only 2 sentences in the beginning and the end, but this is make a big impact of the video. So
yeah, let's see the impact.
Você faz parte de uma ordem
Conquer
militar independente
new
em um
land.
yeah, about the results. So you see here the first creative that you can play.
Okay, I'm stopping it.
Yeah, so this is without voice, without facial animation, and this asset couldn't pass the creative test before we put the asset in the actual user acquisition campaign. After that, we create iteration with the facial animation. You can play it now.
Sure.
From one side of the jousting field, behold the decisive and fast greyhound. And from the other side of the field, behold the cunning and precise.
And yeah, you see the results. The cost and the impressions are with the higher percentage more than the original creative. So yeah, this is a very huge impact for the
Yeah, maybe Martin, if I could just ask you a little bit more details in terms of those 2 metrics that you have at the bottom. And when you write 460% cost is more than the original creative, why is that? What costs more about this ad?
So every time that the video are played from the audience, we pay for this. So and when you have more impressions and more see, yeah, this costs more. But our methodology of testing of our user acquisition assets are this one. So yeah, the cost is one of the thing that we measure the successful of the creatives.
And when you put about the impressions, I know not everyone here is in the marketing space, but you know, where people talk about the impressions all the time in your sort of area, 518% more is huge. Can you describe what that sort of means?
Yes, because the creative test has a limit of this. So we should see the result with those limits, with the different assets, and after that the percentage is much more higher, because this video with the facial animation is a best from the creative test, and after exit the creative test, going to the real campaign, and this is because this is the reason behind the higher percentage of impression and cost.
Okay, and one thing that we've discussed outside of this webinar is you also saw that there were a lot more installs of the games because of this. When we saw like that video before, which showed download it here, can you talk us a little bit through those sort of results, even if you can't say the exact figures?
So the installs are important, of course, yes. And when you have most cost and more impressions, absolutely you should have and more click to installs. So yeah, the results between the original assets, so the difference between the original assets and that iteration with the facial animation, yeah, it's a very good for us, because with this adding element, it's not so, how can I say, magnificent, but this make the difference for us. So yeah, we have an installs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see another example.
Yeah, another example. So yeah, okay, play it. The first one is, yeah, it's without any kind of voice or facial animation.
Siege the castle. Attack. Motivate your troops. Use tribute.
So again, like a generic, a basic.
Yeah, in this in this example, the original one was the best, and the iterations that we create after making this creative best. This one with facial animation is not able to beat the original one, but is able to beat every iteration that we create. So we create a series of maybe 10 iterations, and almost every time the iterations with DAD facial animation are with the much better performance than the others. So you see the cost and the impressions is the data that you see. And yeah, you see here, all of the blue names are iterations made with DAD facial animation. So you see that they are in the highest part of the table. So yeah, this is make us significant difference.
So this is like the ranking chart of successful, let's say, videos or campaigns, and each one that is blue, it was utilizing DAD as part of the
exactly.
video, right?
Yes. And you see, this is the ranking, and because I'm not able to show you the results of this, but in detail, but you see, this is the ranking, and the DAD iterations are every time on top and in the highest part of the table.
And the other thing to point out on this slide as well is that you've created over 300 assets using DAD. I think one of the benefits that all the audience can hear is how quick and easy it is to create those.
Absolutely. Before, as I said before, using DAD, the process of animated characters or using artists is very slow, and a lot of time spent for this. But when we start to use DAD, the process is super fast and easy, and interface of the DAD studio is super friendly, and we don't have any problems since the beginning of using it. Maybe the problem that we faced in the beginning was that the character, when you choose to animate it, it must be in frontal. The face must be frontal. But we talk about this problem with you guys, and after every update, the results with another characters is going better and better.
Amazing. Thank you, Martin.
Awesome. Let's move to David, to another example. We're gonna speed things up a little bit, but this is a totally different use case, David, right? This is the Ripley Aquarium. What can you tell us about this?
Sure, but first I'm going to object. It's patently unfair to make me follow a really cool game company. So yeah, that's not fair. So but as everybody knows, we talked about, we provide AI assistant kiosks that are in public venues. This is a use case for Ripley's Aquarium in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We partnered with a hardware partner here called View AI, and I will just point this out. I didn't provide a slide, but we won an International Attraction and Industry Award for this technology with Bloop. It's in the attraction industry and theme park industry. They are the awards, and we won best in guest journey category. So I'll just point that out with our partner.
This was made in the Penguin Playhouse, right?
Yeah. So Ripley's wanted to test AI in their environment. So we have a kiosk. You can see it on the far left. That is in their Penguin Playhouse. The avatar there, her name is avatars, and we can go on to the next slide if you like, and we can
let's see it in action.
So I'm gonna.
Who are you, and how can you help me?
Do you want to say something beforehand?
I'll say it after.
Okay. I'll just show a few seconds. It's a pretty long clip.
Hello, I'm Irma, your friendly AI assistant here at Ripley's Penguin Playhouse. I can provide you with fun and educational information about our playful penguins and their unique personalities. Just ask me anything penguin related, and I'll be happy to help.
When is your penguin parade?
The Penguin Parade is scheduled daily at 1:30 p.m. at the Penguin Playhouse in Ripley's Aquarium.
Yeah, so I think we catch the drift.
Okay. Yeah, and it'll also speak in multiple languages. So here's my disclaimer. This is a video from our development environment, not the current production. You saw that it was landscape, large microphone button, and a selector for 8 languages on that. So I'll just point this out. My CTO is on here. He's going to admonish me for using this video and not the real
Blaming.
AI. But that's fine. If you want to push to the next slide,
Sure.
we can talk about this.
Next slide is. So
we have had a large number of questions. Some of them are actually quite funny. Though is my favorite. A guest asked, how many penguins would I have to stack on top of each other to reach the sun? And the AI answer was, you would need over 326 million penguins stacked on top of each other to reach the sun. Penguins are amazing, but they can't reach that far. And then the right one is Dana's favorite. Why is my dad so nosy? It sounds to me like your dad might be curious about what's going on in your life. Maybe try and have a chat with him about boundaries and privacy. If you need more help, feel free to ask me about penguins or the Penguin Playhouse. So
I like those answers.
Yeah, it's very funny. Some of them are really great. And if you want to jump to the next one, we can talk about some results. So sure. I'm limited as to the amount of hard data that I can give because of the client's limitation on this. But what I can tell you is that generally it has exceeded all of our expectations, including ours. Thousands of people a month ask the kiosk questions. Hundreds of people a day ask the kiosk question. Candidly, when I walked out after the install, I thought we'd be very happy with 20 or 30 questions a day. Hundreds of people ask every single day. As I said, we've delivered, digital experiences in public spaces for a long time. And this kiosk has more engagement than any other non-transactional kiosk that we have ever seen. Meaning, frequently a kiosk where it'll be like for checkouts and things like that, which are transactional, that are necessary. This is not necessary. This is for, entertainment and engagement. So Ripley's is delighted. They've ordered for 4 more locations.
Wait.
Sorry.
This is question number 4. I know what you're about to say. Sorry.
Sorry.
So, and since we're running out of time, guys, I'm going to skip the next slide, which is the question number 3, and I'm going to move directly to question number 4, which is actually, what are your plans for using the DID technology? Any thoughts, ideas? So David, you can continue from where the point I interrupted you, and Martin, I know you have also some thoughts about it, and we'll conclude with that. So go ahead, David.
Sure. In regards to technology, how are we implementing? We're working right now to be able to seamlessly integrate the videos from that are common answers that we create in the video DID's Video Studio with our unique answers that we go out and use the real-time API. And since this is the last, I just want to make one comment that we get a lot of, and that's this, that we're not replacing people. AI isn't replacing people. AI is delivering experiences to people and places where we could not deliver them before, period. So these are new experiences that nobody's ever seen before.
Awesome. And Martin, what about Gameloft?
So one of the things that I discussed with you earlier is that we're planning to increase the DAD usage, DAD Studio, I mean, because we have characters from the game, like advisors or something, that are static with text bubbles. So I guess if we try to animate them with the DAD tool, with those expressions and all of the things that they should say, it will be perfect for the users, even the new one, even the actual one. So yeah, I think this is one of the things that we should continue try to using DID tool. And when I saw the slides of David, I have an idea how to how to use it in another way, because we are participations like in a different medieval festivals. So if we put kiosk with our main character to answer the questions of the game, will be awesome. So yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So guys, we're a little bit over time. I saw there are a few questions in the chat. Some of them were answered. If not, I wrote my email in the chat. You can email me directly, ask any questions. I encourage you to follow us on all social media channels. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I really, really appreciate the participation. Martin, David, it was very insightful. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Steve.
It's a
for
pleasure.
helping me as well. And
Thank you.
we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.